and welcome to The Pretty, the Beard and the Bold. I am TeeggieBeeggie and I am joined as ever by my dashing co-hosts, Mr. FG Zilla and
Hello.
Mr. Genuineparts.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Well, I'm feeling a lot more dashing than I was a couple of seconds ago after that introduction. Yeah.
If only you could be told you were dashing every day.
Happy multiple times a day, I think. Be convincing.
And you, GP, all good with you?
I'm starting to wake up, so yeah.
Yeah, poor GP's had to rush to be here. He slept through his alarm. And, we crack the whip at PBB. If you're not on time, you're not in.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
There are people lining up for your position, GP.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, I know. That's why, I'm glad I'm not having 100 subscribers and being on webcam because I'm stark naked.
Yeah.
We're loving it.
Yeah.
You sure? You see my webcam video? I don't know.
Just stand up for me, GP. Just stand up.
Oh, please don't. No. Oh, that's something I'll never unsee.
Anyway, we've
relax.
got a packed show today. I think some really good topics and lots of stuff to be chatting on. The first thing we're going to talk about is the idea of review embargoes. Now, we know Shadow of Mordor recently had a review embargo. What do we think about it? I mean, for those that don't know, a review embargo is where a game developer puts out a game, but they say that no reviews can be done until a certain date or time. Usually, this is in the run-up to the game, maybe, or a couple of days afterwards, something like that. But some people are putting embargoes on for longer periods after a game's released. So, what do we think? Good, bad, evil, nasty? FG.
Well, I think the consequences for it seem to be situations like we have at the moment with Assassin's Creed Unity, where a game's coming out that is not really ready to be released. It appears not to be ready to be released anyway. People are having a lot of problems with it. That people have bought before they knew anything about these problems. And that is not, it's anti-consumer, I guess, is the issue. That said, I think a game developer and game publishers have the right to kind of try and promote their product as they see fit, and they are in the business of selling games. When it's used as a way not to necessarily coordinate their promotional strategy, but to prevent gamers from finding out that a game's not worth buying, that's when the issue comes in. So I don't think that embargoes in and of themselves are bad, but they can be used for bad reasons, I guess.
So what would be the motivation to put a review embargo on your game, for example, a week after the release date?
Well, the strongest thing is it's a massive vote of I'm not confident in this game from the developer. He puts an embargo after the release date. It means after people have already bought this game, means he knows this game has either crippling issues or it doesn't live up to the expectations, and he doesn't want the media to publish that. So the first 2 weeks are crucial for a game. It's the weeks where they sell the most copies, and so an embargo that extends into the release period is just the developer knows that it isn't worth playing, essentially.
So is putting a review embargo like a week into the release period just as bad as allowing bad reviews to be published? Because we all see it as obviously this game is pants because they're not allowing people to review it. So are they not giving themselves their own bad review by doing it? I can't understand the motivation from a game developer's point of view to hold off on that, because if the perception is going to be negative anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think that the negative consequences of people speculating about whether a game's bad or not are less severe than the negative consequences of being shown clearly that a game is bad.
Harm reduction.
Yeah, exactly. And it is about controlling the marketing of the game, which is fine. It can be used effectively and meaningfully in that way as well. I mean, if you've got a game that's got some sort of new innovation that you don't want to spoil the surprise for people when they start playing it, then a review embargo may be a completely legitimate way to ensure that. Then we have to remember as well that a review embargo doesn't automatically prevent gaming journalists from reviewing a game. They are entitled to review a game.
They're just asked not to.
And they're protected under law. It's a valid criticism. So they're completely entitled to do so. Of course, if they choose to review a game that they've been asked not to, then that's going to have flow-on effects for them in the relationship.
In the future, getting review copies for other games. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for. I mean, I love the internet and the openness, the no censorship, that kind of thing. So I'm all for an open, conversation between people and stuff. And actually, bad reviews don't necessarily put me off of products. I quite enjoy to see the pros, cons. If somebody's just singing all praises about a product, I'm probably more likely to be a bit like, really? There's nothing bad about it. So I don't know. I think people should. We see with, especially with smaller developers, they're really keen for us to all go and look at their games and point out the good stuff, point out the bad stuff. Just please, just get it out there. Which makes me think a little bit with these bigger companies. It just seems a bit greedy, maybe. Like, just sell it. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
Possibly. I used to know a person who was an econometrist by trade. They studied econometrics, and basically it was just studying. Part of that was studying consumer buying habits, purchasing habits, and things like that. And they kind of divide people up into different groups. And she always used to say that I was a classic, a classic consumer. That is someone who doesn't rush out and buy stuff as soon as it's released, who waits and finds out whether or not it's something they want, and then goes and makes a considered choice before purchasing it. Then the whole embargo thing has no impact upon them at all, because they will wait until people have played it, until they've seen reviews, before they make their decision. I guess what they're trying to ensure is that those people who don't fit into that category, and that is, most people fit into that category, but those that don't fit into that category, who make impulse purchases, who buy, or are early adopters, aren't dissuaded from doing so prior to the release of the game, I guess. And that is, it does count for an enormous amount of money, obviously, for them.
But I would say I'm you say most of the people are classic consumers. But I think with games, there are so many emotions. If you look forward, I mean, if Half-Life 3 was announced today and I could pre-order it on Steam.
Yes, yeah.
I'm an informed consumer. I wait for reviews, but I would pre-order Half-Life 3.
But you are making a considered decision on something like that because you've played the previous games and you've enjoyed them. And
yeah, but still, I mean, I enjoyed SimCity. If just bringing up now, SimCity was a great series until EA came and ruined it completely with the new SimCity, and. Many people bought it just because it was SimCity, and they bought it in the first week because it was a brand that promised great fun. What they didn't know is that it's completely broken, because of course no one did say that. So I think that's maybe a bit with the emotions that attach to games and the previous experiences that even informed customers can rush into a purchase.
Oh yeah, I can impulse buy with the best of them,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, JP.
No, I'm sorry. I did interrupt you. So I think
we're all very sorry.
Yeah, we're all Canadian. So I think this review embargo to not let people find out that the game just sucks is just to reel in as many people as you can before the bad news breaks that the game is shit.
See, the thing is, I think that the people that watch reviews aren't necessarily that group of people that would just go and buy a game anyway. So by putting a review embargo, the actual people that you're putting off your game is not those impulse people, it's the considered buyers. Because instead of seeing a review, what I see as my favourite reviewers going, sorry, I'm not allowed to review this game because it's got an embargo on it. Don't really know what that means. And so that's my review then. Okay, well, that's pants. I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to play that. But those impulse people, I don't think they're the kind of people that would be watching reviews. So I see it as a flawed motivation from developers. I don't know. I just don't know. But I'm not a big marketer or, econometrist or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. They wouldn't do it if it didn't actually work out.
Somebody's crunched the numbers, haven't they? Somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Right. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think I've said it that it could be used effectively, and In many cases, it's being used poorly, and I think the problem is that we really can't only notice it when it's being used poorly to hide a terrible game, rather than to kind of keep some suspense about a great game.
I mean, I've never heard in any other industry of a review embargo after a product has been released. You know,
Yes,
I mean,
that
I'm
is-
comparing it with films is the first thing that comes
Yeah.
to my head. You know, I can't imagine that a film was ever released in cinema and the producer said, "Sorry, you can't review this for a week." I mean, that would be like uproar, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, but is this coming back to the kind of debate that's happening at the moment, and the kind of this closeness, almost unethical closeness that exists between gaming media and game developers? I mean, it could be a reflection of that. Whereas films are reviewed in newspapers, or reviewed in people that the people who are doing the reviews are not beholden to
No.
the companies that are making films. They can give a bad review, and their publication will still continue to have access to films, which is not necessarily the case, I think, for gaming media. So perhaps I'm sure Hollywood would love to put out review embargoes if they could. The thing is, they just can't. Whereas in gaming, it's possible for them to do that.
Is that a result of being having access to a wider audience? You know, the majority of the world will watch movies, whereas there's only a smaller section of the global society that probably play video games and read gaming media on a regular basis. Whereas I'd imagine nearly every person over the age of 21 probably reads news or watches the news once a week. At least I hope.
I'm not sure, actually. That's
not sure.
Because gaming it's a massive. I mean, there are a lot of people that play games, and there are a lot of people that consume gaming media. I'm not sure why, in this circumstance. Perhaps it's simply that the revenue streams for gaming media are not as broad. So, really, Rock Paper Shotgun makes its money from developers buying advertising off them. Whereas there's a much greater diversity for traditional media in terms of who buys advertising.
Yeah,
and they can afford to lose advertisers without going bust. Whereas perhaps in gaming media, that's not the case. And it might be that, because I think the consumption of it is probably would be fairly comparable to the consumption of mainstream media.
I just I racked my brain thinking about another example of review embargo. And I think there recently was something with the iPhone 6 that they did. The magazine did a too soon review of the iPhone 6 and even pointed out issues with it. And Apple swiftly declared that they will never get any review phones again.
Wow.
So I think it happens, but not on us.
And it happens because Apple can do that.
Yeah,
because it's an Apple
they've
phone.
got that pull.
They have the they have the control over who gets their stuff. Yeah.
But it's the only thing I could come up with in the recent. So I think it happens, but not as frequently as with games.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of games released. I think much more than. I think that there are more games per year than movies or phones or anything.
It may very well be, yeah.
Certainly than phones, for sure, yeah.
But
decent phones.
the movies you hear about, and they're bigger, I don't know, one in a week, maybe? And, with games, if you look at the Steam recent release, there are 5-6 games released each day on Steam alone.
Yeah.
Maybe the comparison is, I mean, if there were 3 other people in the world that were doing a podcast about movies, they would probably sort of say, well, you only ever hear about one game a month, but you hear about loads of movies every day. Because it's where your interest lies, isn't it, I suppose?
If you make a vlog about movies, hit us up.
Yeah, let us know roughly how many movie reviews there are in a week.
If there are embargoes, let us know about that as well.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys.
Sure.
Okay, well, moving on to our next topic, something that I know the 3 of us enjoy, which is the modding of games, adding additions to our base games and playing sort of a brand new game, but through no creation of the developer, from random people in the community or whoever it may be. I really love playing modded games. I think it adds a real fresh, new point of view on your one of your favorite games, or even a bad game probably can be made a good game. What do we think? I mean, I know you guys enjoy certain modded games. Are there games that do it well as games that it's been pants for? I keep saying pants today. I'm like all about the pants. It's because GP's naked and
Yeah.
I'm just like, put some pants on, man.
Man, put pants on.
So what do you guys think?
Well, I'll
Sorry.
let you take me, GP.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
for it.
Today I'm just tired and naked, you know how. Modding is the heart and soul of PC games. You cannot mod console games, but there are just, if you look at the games that have been really, really successful and really well received in the last years, and had a continuous or have a continuous support and success, those are the games that get extensively modded. I mean, not talking about Minecraft, because Minecraft is just in a league of its own. It's one of the most successful games to date, and the modding community is just insane what they do. I mean, I never saw a game so drastically changed by mods, and so many mods for any game, that it's just in a league of its own. But it's a big part of why Minecraft still runs and is successful and sells. But there are so many games. I mean, look at Half-Life. Look at Half-Life 2. I'm about the Half-Lives today. Half-Life 2 was so successful and kept going because there are so many mods, and mods that are still used today. I mean, you can play Half-Life today, but it's, the story doesn't change. But, there's Gmod, and there you have games like Traveling Terrorist Town or Prop Hunt, and that's just massively successful still. And it's the reason why Half-Life still sells, because, you need the content to play that game. Or Fallout or Skyrim. Those are games that you can mod to oblivion. How typical. Yeah, and all this modding also, they can make total conversions of the previous game in the Skyrim engine, and that's underway. They're doing this, and that's just, that's stuff that impresses me and makes me keep playing those games. And yeah, I think mods are just, that they have become a vital part in a strategy of video game developers for PC, because they continue a long running success if you do it well. FG, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's a kind of function that modding also performs as well for developers. I mean, if you look at things like take Minecraft for example, one of the early problems that it had was the whole lighting issue, and the problems that with just lighting updates not occurring and things like that. That was solved by a modder, and then adopted into the game. So here we've got the community working to improve a game, and the developers paying attention to the community and incorporating that into their game. And I think that is partly one of the reasons why Minecraft has been so successful. It's not just because it was modded, but because of the way that they dealt with or worked with the modding community to a degree. Now, there's obviously been a bit of back and forth on that, because they've changed hierarchical structures for the game that have broken mods entirely and things like that without really much notice. So I think they've done it well sometimes and done it poorly other times. But modding relies on a degree, I think, of interaction between the original developers and the community. And I think that's partly what makes it such a valuable thing. But that said, there's a risk that modding, because these days people say, okay, a game comes out, it's expected to be modded. If it's successful, people expect mods to come along for it. And developers are aware of that, so we're starting to see greater integration of modding APIs and things like that, which I think can be positive or negative. If it's about a modding API to ensure the developers still have control over what the community does to their game, that's not a good thing, I don't think. But if it's a modding API that opens up the whole game so that the community can do whatever they want with it, then that can be a positive thing. So I think we're going to see a lot more recognition of the fact that games are modded by developers, and we're going to see a lot more integration of APIs for that. But I don't necessarily know whether that's going to generate better games and games with greater longevity in the long run.
I mean,
well, depends on how it's handled.
I love playing modded Minecraft, especially. I mean, because it's 200 games in one, isn't it? We can choose whatever game we want to play today in Minecraft. Brilliant. My frustrations with modding are like, they're also like, it's like my best thing about modding and my worst thing about modding. Best thing that it's done by the community, by people that genuinely love the game, for free, off their own backs, in their own time, working together, those kind of things. I love all that spirit. That, I just love that crap. It's brilliant. But then, flip side of that is, my favourite mod isn't being updated because the guy who did it, he's got a new job and he's actually got to do some real stuff, or he's no longer into Minecraft anymore. So I can't play my favourite mod anymore because it doesn't work with anything else. And those kind of things, like the love and hate relationship with modding. The love far outweighs the hate. I mean, massively outweighs the hate. And then, so sometimes with the hate, I'm like, oh, I wish this could be more structured and more available and more regulated. And then I think, no, I hate all of that. I wouldn't want that at all. And so I'm always really torn with modding. I want to play it all the time. But I want all those annoying little niggles to go away. But I don't think they will. I think that's the beauty of it, though, that it's not a perfect thing.
With Minecraft modding, this recently there has been a massive influx of just open sourcing your mods. So like Soul Shards, the original developer just vanished, and then they forked his GitHub, and now it's Soul Shards Reloaded. And for the really successful mods, this is happening regularly.
I think that's a great idea. So the next generation can pick it up and continue it on. That's great, and that's a community response to this my niggly issue, which is brilliant.
Yeah, you're not the only one that has this.
It's a brilliant resolution. I love it. I think the other thing I was going to ask about modding. I mean, we've said that successful games get modded, but developers see games getting modded and then see them being even more successful because they've been modded. Is there the potential of danger for game developers to put out, not necessarily such good games, but with a mod API with the intention of, we've given you like the base here, can you make our game better?
I'm not sure, just because I think that the problem that a lot of developers would have with modding in general is that they're being asked to give customer support for things that they have
nothing to do with. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that would be a massive problem for games that are heavily modded. So I'm not sure any company would really actively kind of encourage modding. They do encourage modding, but perhaps they'd be wary of that consequence, I think. So I certainly don't know whether they'd be releasing half-done games, hoping that the modding community would fix
it all for them.
Yeah,
has happened in the past.
Yeah.
Vampires, the Masquerade. The studio went. It was one of the first. I don't know. I'm at the Valve train today. It was one of the first games released on the Source engine. It was even developed before Half-Life.
Half-Life.
Half-Life. Bettycams. Okay, now we have destroyed this video.
Bring it back around, boys. Bring it back around.
Okay, and the developer went bankrupt before they could essentially finish the game, and so the game got modded and then fixed by the community. And to go to FG's example before, that they make a modding API, games that are successful that are really, really closed off get modded. Like GTA. GTA has no possibility to be modded. And still people don't care. People mod the hell out of this game. So I think that it works not in one direction, so the developer hoping it gets modded to be successful. But I think it's just that successful games get modded and then get more successful. Or at least if, that the premises are there for it to be a really good game, but, the developer ran out of money and didn't have the time and money to finish it. And then the community takes over and does what the developer originally intended. But I don't think it works if you release a half-finished game that doesn't have any merit aside from, hey, we have a modding API.
Yeah. Because that's like you said, it's not attractive to people. They can already mod whatever game they want, even if they're not meant to.
Yeah.
And it takes time and effort, and they're not going to invest that in the game.
I mean, that's my next question. I'm no computer genius. I know nothing about coding or anything like that. So, what would be the motivation for your average me who's got a job, who likes to play games, to actually mod a game? I imagine it's hard work, a lot of hard work, and then to constantly keep it updated and people banging in your ear that it's broken, those kind of things, and all for free. No money paid, those kind of things. What's the motivation for that?
Well, first of all,
GP might be a bit more of an expert on this than I am. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, first of all, people love that game. Genuinely love that game, and they like the challenge. I think it's many reasons. So first of all, people like the game and want to develop their skills. You start to analyze what makes this game tick. I love this game. What do I need to do to make this car run faster, or change this block to something else? And they just dive in and look at what makes it tick, and then they figure out, I can improve my skills. I can make this block turn sideways, and from there on out, they just I can do that. I can make a new car, and it's just to develop your skill. If you have some skill, the others are just, they want recognition. There are a lot of people that just want the recognition. They can code, they know how to mod a game, and they want the admiration and the I think, just they want to be the star in the modding community. And others just want a job in the gaming industry, and the easiest thing to do is take a game that exists and change something in there.
Good experience.
And make it, and maybe the developer likes your change and says, hey, that's cool. Why don't you come work for us? And I mean, I don't know how often this happens, but Dinnerbone was originally a developer for Bucket, which is essentially a moddable server, and they choose him to make a modding API. Hey, Dinnerbone, where's the modding API?
Yeah. Get back to us on that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
FG.
Well, it's interesting. I remember watching like an infographic thingamajiggy animation on YouTube a while back. And I think it's done by RSA or something like that. But anyway, they do a whole series of things where they look at different issues. And this one was looking at the idea or the economic concept that if you pay someone more, then they work harder, and analyzing whether or not that's actually the case. And they found that actually is not really the case at all. In some instances, for some types of labor, yes, it is. But for any area of labor where it's knowledge-based and people using their intellect and problem solving and things like that, it doesn't matter if you pay them more; they're not necessarily going to do a better job. You have to pay them enough that that they're not worried about how much they're getting paid, and then the rest of the incentive comes from what GP was just saying.
Self-reward sort of thing.
Mastery and recognition are the two things that people seek. And this is why, people who were working on developing Windows in their spare time were contributing to the development of Linux for free. Because they are looking for the challenge, they're looking to demonstrate and develop mastery, and they're looking for the recognition they get from their peers, for the effort that they put in. And that's the same in all industries. So you look at Wikipedia, you have university history professors going on there doing, writing up the history of obscure people because they know that stuff and they want to contribute. And they're not getting any, they do it for a living, and then they go home and do it
at home. Yeah. I suppose I see it as not as an alien thing, but I don't understand the motivation because I can't do it myself. But then maybe it's comparable to us guys doing YouTube videos and stuff. There's probably people that sit out there going, "What, you sit at your computer editing videos all day? Why?"
Yeah.
And we do those for the same reasons, don't we? Like the self-reward of I've achieved something, and the recognition from our peers of that was a great video. You did really good. Yeah.
And I've got a friend who's a filmmaker, and in conversations with him, and he works as a filmmaker. He runs a production company, and all that sort of stuff. So he does it for a living. But he said one of the hardest things for him is to not do stuff for free, because he wants to be doing it. He enjoys doing it. It's what it has a kind of internal reward or intrinsic reward, just the doing of it for him. But he's got to remember that he's got to make a living from doing it. So So he's got to be quite strict on himself to ensure that he's actually getting
Our
paid.
mate Steve's the
late.
same with his graphic
Yeah.
artistry.
Well, exactly right.
Yeah, he's a pain for not taking any money.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so I mean, I think that's the exact same reason why people who can code well go into modding.
Yeah, well, thank you, modders of the world. We love you. We love you.
Yeah, true.
Keep up the good work. So, guys, do we want to take a quick break and
All for
Genuine
it.
can put some bloody clothes on.
Go.
All right, guys, we will be back in a minute. See you in a tick. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Pretty, the Bit and the Bold. We've refueled on coffee and we're ready to go. Genuine was just doing some funky dance moves, so I think he's woken up now.
Yeah,
Still still hasn't put his clothes on either as well, so those funky dance moves were extra disturbing. All that thrusting.
Good?
Oh, God.
Anyway, on to our next topic. In the current world, we have access to a wealth of information at just the touch of a button, especially when it comes to gaming. We talked earlier about reviews, but there's also, people like ourselves who do Let's Plays of videos. There's people that put out tutorials for games. I mean, I remember back when I was only a wee little TeeggieBeeggie, and to find out how to get past a certain boss on Mario in the Game Boy, you just had to keep asking your friends, or just keep trying, for the 200 millionth time until you eventually did it. But nowadays we can just go on YouTube and we can say, well, how do I kill such and such boss? Are we ruining gameplay for it? It's the spoiler thing, basically. Are we doing ourselves a disservice by looking up these things instead of discovering them for ourselves?
I think there's two kind of views on that. I mean, and it depends on the person as well. I mean, I don't go looking up answers to stuff that I can't do in games because I want to figure it out for myself, and that's part of the fun of playing it. But there are, I mean, my sister, for example, is the sort of person who reads the last page of the book before she starts it. So for her, if she gets stuck on something, she'll just go and look up how to do it, and she enjoys the game more as a result of doing that. So yeah, I don't like it. She does like it. Depends on the person a little bit, that sort of thing. But I also remember as a wee child playing various adventure games that they would always have the helpline in the. This is back when games came in boxes with books on them. You didn't just download them because there was no internet.
You could set up a LAN though, if you had two computers at home. Play Doom with your dad.
But it was really hard with the coaxial cables and the Terminators.
We're just alienating all of the people on the internet.
I'm sorry, we're old.
When I was young.
Back in my day,
we had nothing.
We didn't. Seriously though, my first computer didn't even have a mouse, and it had a green-on-green screen, and didn't have a hard drive. It had two 5.25-inch floppy drives. That you had to.
I had the same.
Me too.
Yeah. That was the way. But anyway, you'd have to ring up stuff, and there was a big market and business surrounding helping people out. So even back then, they recognized that people, when they got stuck, wanted to find out the answer quickly rather than figure it out for themselves. So there's obviously a need for it there. And I think today's situation, rather than having to pay for it, is probably better way of dealing with that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I used to love when I played Monkey Island when I was younger, and my whole group of friends played Monkey Island, and we would always be getting together and saying, well, how did where did you find that, and where was it? And I really enjoyed that whole joining together and discussing it and trying to work it out together. Whereas probably nowadays, if I am one of those people that if I'm really, really stuck and I've already tried 50 times, I'm done. I need to just know. So I probably would just Google it now. And a little bit of me doesn't like myself for that, because when I was younger, I very much enjoyed the seeking out the answers from my friends. I think that's the difference. Working on a problem together with friends as opposed to just getting the answer from somebody else, some random person who isn't necessarily my friend. But then, I'd probably just quit the game if I got too stuck.
Yeah, well, exactly. Try playing Minecraft from scratch without any reference to
it.
There's no way because Minecraft doesn't feature a tutorial or anything.
Exactly.
I remember trying to punch my first tree by repeatedly clicking and nothing was happening.
Yeah.
I think that's a
That's
little
a
bit of a
classic.
change from, like
Yeah.
you say, when we got games, they had a book with them,
Yeah.
like an instruction manual, whereas
Yeah.
now we have Wiki, which is an instruction. Game developers don't have to create an instruction manual because there's Wiki, and you can go on the Minecraft Wiki, and that is the instruction manual. But yeah, so some games you need this kind of tutorial spoiler, discovery through other people. I think. I don't know. Come on, GP, save me here.
So, I remember back in the day, being in Austria and having, being a very small country, we didn't have our own helplines. We had fax lines.
Oh, cool.
You write down where you had problem and fax it to the number, and you got a fax back explaining how you get farther away. And that
Because
was
everyone has a fax machine. Everyone has a fax machine.
you had to go to the post. Yeah, and everyone had a fax machine.
You had to go to the post office too.
Or you had to go to the post office.
Wow.
I remember
crazy.
faxing sometimes. When I was stuck, I just wrote down where I was stuck, and I got a handwritten note back how to continue. And then
There's something charming about that, though.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
The simplicity of that. It's
and something probably only German. If I have any German viewers, or this podcast has any German viewers, most of you might remember Dirty Little Helper, DHL. It was a German program that came up with the advent of the internet. I think the site still exists, and it was featured on many, many CDs of gaming magazines. And it was essentially a program where you could search your game, and it either had cheats or a walkthrough in it.
It's sort of like an Encarta for games.
Yeah. It was really big in a day, but with the upcoming internet, it lost a lot of use. But I think the site still exists. I haven't checked in a while. But that's a little bit of nostalgia, the Dirty Little Helper. And I actually started out programming with trying to recreate something like that. I didn't have internet, and I just wanted to compile helps of stuff I played. And I mean, it's horrible. Maybe I have it somewhere. But yeah, and for me, it's not really fun. I don't have to look at it, but I find myself, if I'm really stuck and I just cannot figure out the way to get further away, because I think we always say games have become easier. I don't think that's necessarily true. Maybe for some games, like FPS games, that but Nintendo had its own category. We don't have to discuss that. Nintendo has hardest games ever, but a lot of games just seem to be easier because we have all the information available to make it work.
Yeah, it's not hard work to seek it out.
Yeah. And I think I find some games becoming essentially harder in the puzzles. I've played what's the name? Something.
Is it?
No, not this time. It's a little puzzle game where you essentially play a guy with water droplets that you can animate, or fire droplets. It's nice. I might even feature it on my channel sometime. And the puzzles sometimes are really, really, really difficult, and I had to seek out.
Is that a response to, because we can find the information so easy, game developers are making things a bit harder for us to keep us engaged?
But FG looks skeptical.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, and this could have been a factor in the fact that when I was playing King's Quest, the original King's Quest, it took me so long to finish that game, like so long. I would probably say about a year to actually solve all of it. Yeah, exactly. To solve all of it, which is, it's not a big game. If I was to sit down and start playing it now and get stuck and go to the wiki or go to YouTube and find out the answers, I'd probably play through the whole thing in about 20 minutes. But it took me about a year to complete the whole game because I didn't have any resources to help me figure out the puzzles, and the puzzles were difficult. And So I think, yeah, that it can. I mean, I enjoyed figuring it out all by myself. It would have been an entirely different game if I didn't have that process of trying to figure it all out. So I think it definitely has an impact on how we perceive and how we feel about games. The bigger or the other issue, I think, is it possibly has an impact upon whether or not we get games or buy games in the first place. Because I'm just thinking now, like I recently watched Sips from the Ogscast play through The Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
Yeah.
And it's a game that I would have enjoyed, but I've seen the whole thing now.
Yeah.
There's no, I won't buy that game as a result.
Yeah,
I would have enjoyed it had I played it myself.
I've been in the same position with The Walking Dead. I've been wanting to play that game for ages, and I've also been wanting to watch it. But I was like, I must not watch anyone play this game because I won't buy it afterwards. It's a story game. A lot of the motivation behind it is following, being part of the story. If the story's ruined for me, what's the point in playing the game?
But you can't forget that The Walking Dead has very choice-based.
Oh yeah, for sure. But my worry was if I'd watch someone play it, would I follow their choice? Would my choice be influenced by where they went through the game? So yeah, I've had to actively avoid watching anyone that's playing, or played The Walking Dead because I don't want to spoil it for myself.
If anyone was going to buy Bionic Hearts and didn't because I played it, you're welcome.
Yeah, fair enough with that game. I can understand where you come from.
So I think with certain games, it that interaction, it really works well. I would be nowhere in Minecraft if I couldn't watch people do tutorials or I couldn't have access to the wiki. But in other games, I don't want to spoil it. I'll happily watch it afterwards after I've had the opportunity to play that game. But yeah, I think you can spoil games, and then you can't. It can enhance games as well.
Yeah.
It's like two sides to it. Probably even 3 or 4 sides. Could be a cube.
Wow.
A hypercube.
Can you tell the coffee's kicking in?
Indeed.
What did you do with the coffee?
Might have put a gin in there. So anyway, guys, I think we are on to our weekly section. Oh, no, we're not weekly anymore. Bi-weekly section of our podcast, where we start to talk about what is new on our channels. Anything interesting, any new games to speak about. I'm going to go with GP first.
I have not had any new games, but if you watch my channel, you saw that Police Quest, an exceptionally hard game, even if I had access to all the solutions, but I didn't use them. I failed multiple times, and I, did a little montage when I did really stupid things that made the game end prematurely. It ended, and it was a lot harder than I expected it to be from the distance of 10 years. And the second game that ended, and the video is going up today, is Bionic Hearts. Goodbye, Bionic Hearts!
Bye, Bionic Heart.
Goodbye, Bionic Hearts.
So does this mean we can look forward to 2 new series coming on the channel?
There are 2 new series coming up to my channel. I'm not gonna spoil it, though, because I haven't figured out what
secret for the big release.
Because I haven't made the decision yet.
Yes.
I'm not even going to spoil it for myself.
And how about you, FG? Anything new that you're playing? I know there's one new game that you're definitely playing.
Yes, and that's probably the only new one. I've been playing that Ort Online, and I'll be playing a little bit more of that. But I've just been so flat out at work that I haven't had as much time as I would like to actually do videos recently. Hopefully that will all wrap up very shortly, and I'll be able to get back to making just a bunch of content, which is what I would rather be doing anyway.
Yeah. Well,
what about you, Teeggie?
I'm the same as you, FG. Been super excited for Ort Online. Since I first saw Steve post up about it. Great game. Had a little play on it last night. Loving it. So yeah, I've been really into that. I have also been playing some of The Walking Dead. So but I'm gonna keep recording that for a bit longer before that comes on my channel. But look for that soon. And I'm hoping to do some Ort Online stuff. I might wait for a little bit just to see if it develops a little bit further before I start any sort of serious series on it. But there'll certainly be some, first look and update videos, I think, on my channel soon regarding Ort Online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's well worth that. Of course, they'll be resetting the servers fairly frequently, I think. So there's not much point to anything big and elaborate just at this point. Yeah.
No. But yeah, so that's great. We've all got new stuff going on. And now for the tough bit. GP, I think you're in massive debt on this section of our podcast.
No, I have
See,
two.
I think he cleared his debt
Oh,
last
did he
time.
clear his
Two,
debt?
is it?
Okay.
I'm
all
two.
right.
I have two.
Who have you been watching? Any new channels?
Well, not exactly new channels. Not all of them new channels. I watched BK a lot from the MC Collective because first of all he's playing Quora just as I do, and I enjoy watching how different we do things and how similar we experience something and even use the same words to experience that. The other thing is he did Organ Trail with
hilarious
names of the MC Collective, and I just couldn't stop laughing. It was
so funny.
Just the best thing ever.
Viewers, go watch BK's Oregon Trail series.
You have to
hilarious.
absolutely watch this because that's absolutely fantastic. I watched MC Collective members this week, and I watched Raytag Rages with his Half-Life series that he eventually finished.
Half-Life?
Yes.
Yeah. He played episode 2, I guess, or 1 or 2. Yeah, no, 2. It was 2. And that's
Cool.
That's what I watched. I haven't any new channels this week.
That's all right. As long you can, if you're going to promote MC Collective members, then you don't have to come up with new channels. So.
And of course, I watched TGU and your old online video FG. So I'm trying to stay on top of my game so no one gets the short end of the stick.
We know how hard it is to make content and watch content, so don't worry,
exactly.
GP. And how about you, FG?
Yes, well, Raytag is one of those ones that I couldn't watch his video because I haven't finished Half-Life 2 and I didn't want to spoil it for myself. So I couldn't watch his recent video. I did share it around, but I didn't actually watch it apart from the first few minutes of it. Anyway, I have been watching a guy called Woe Squidgy, who's also an Australian on the other side of Australia from me. But he makes some really good content. He kind of gets out there, and I was watching a video of his where he was at PAX East doing a little bit of a look around there. He just makes some good stuff. So I've just been watching a few of his videos, which is excellent. And he's also doing Ort Online as well.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how I came across him in the first place. So there you go.
Real.
Yeah. What about you, Teegie?
I've also been watching a bit of Woe Squidgy because I've been watching his streams regarding Ort Online. And attached to that, I've also been watching Conflict Nerd, Dylan, who's been involved with doing some Ort Online streaming and first look videos. And he's done a lot of other content as well, some really good Sims 4 stuff, which I had a quick look at the other night. It's really good. As always, though, MC Collective members, you get my first.
Yes.
You get my first look, all of you guys. Can't resist you. Can't resist you. BK's Oregon Trail, honestly, is one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. And also, actually, FG, your Studs McStudley. I mean, that just makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
As soon as Studs comes out, I'm like that. Go Studs! So yeah, guys, go check out FG's MC Collective Mod Source series. That's brilliant. Oh, and Wiz Diesel's Evil Within. That had me absolutely cracking up as well. So funny. Yeah. Great. And I just love looking at the guy. I mean, anyone with an afro like that,
I know. It's a substantial throw.
This is how we played this. They get you. They draw you in.
Yeah,
they got the big bushy beard and then the big afro.
I was saying they have all
hair.
the body hair.
All the hair.
Yeah.
All the body hair.
They pull you in with the hair, but the good thing is they deliver as well with great content.
And this is why I don't gain that many subscribers. I'm lacking in the body hair department.
God, that sucks. Never mind, GP. Never mind. I don't think we've got any questions from the audience this week. Not that
no, I don't.
I've got. Did anyone get any questions from anyone?
Nope.
No, I did not.
No. I mean, we're just open books. People already know everything.
Yeah. I have to give a shout out and a thanks to you, Teeggie, because TeeggieBeeggie, as a surprise for the MC Collective members, commissioned Spoondax. Watch him, search him out on Twitter, Spoondax. He's an artist, and he made
he's incredible.
really, really incredible art for the MC Collective members. It's really, really great. And thank you, Teegie, for doing that.
No, the shout out should go to Spoondax, not to me. All I did was email him. He did all the hard work. So
yeah. But
it was very nice and very professional job as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
Great guy. Yeah, I'll
Thank you.
put a link to I'll put his Twitter handle underneath here and
Please.
a link to his
that.
Tumblr if anyone wants to go and check him out. But anyway,
Very
guys,
good.
if you do want to ask us any questions, if you do have any topics that you'd like us to discuss, let us know. You can comment on this video. You can tweet us. We're always on Twitter. You know, we're available. Look, I mean, you can't see Genuine, but he's like making funny faces at me and
Yeah,
doing
there's
weird
the
things.
thumbs up.
He's doing a thumbs up like this. With his B&D cams. B&D cams.
Oh god, it's all falling apart, people.
Yeah, it's last episode, everyone.
Back on track. Yes, any questions, topics, comment, tweet, like, subscribe, all of those things, and check out the people that we've already mentioned today. I have been TeeggieBeeggie. I have been joined by FGZilla and Genuine Parts. We will see you next time, people. Bye!
Bye!